662-7979, and talk with Reverend J. Malloy Owen, the pastor of St. Mark's United Methodist Church in Raleigh.
What is that, 10% approximately of the people of North Carolina are United Methodists. There are about 1 million Southern Baptists in the state, so that they outnumber us about 2 to 1 in North Carolina as a state. So that these are the two big ones, of course, in North Carolina, and I think predominantly in the South, largely in the whole South.
Why Methodism in North Carolina? Is this the influx of the Scottish settlers in the early colonial days? Or
well,
what?
it's hard to know. The Methodist movement arose within the Church of England in the 18th century. In England, John Wesley was an Anglican clergyman, an ordained priest in the Church of England, and so was Charles Wesley, his brother. And these were the two men that we believe the Lord used to start and to guide the Methodist revival, as it's called historically. And this became a church after a long while, and over the protest of both the Wesley brothers. They never agreed, for instance, to its becoming a church in England, and it never did until both of them were dead. So that Methodism came from England to America, but it had spread from England to Ireland and to Scotland, so that some of the settlers from those countries also brought their Methodism with them.
Being an Episcopalian of the Church of England,
right,
shall we say, what are the basic differences between Methodism and Episcopalianism?
Well, I like to emphasize the similarities between those two sister denominations. We both have the same mother church, the Church of England. The articles of religion we hold in common. You have all 39 of the articles. We have 24 of the Anglican articles, plus one, which our Methodist American forebears added. The 25th article recognizes the right of the government of the United States of America to rule over this part. That one replaced the Anglican article, which you also replaced in the American Episcopal Church, which Anglican article recognizes the divine right of the king or queen to rule in England. And this is, of course, scriptural, because the church is supposed to recognize the legitimacy of the government. Imperfect though it may be, it's necessary. So now the differences would not be doctrinal so much. We believe in the Apostles' Creed. We repeat it every Sunday. We also believe the Nicene Creed. Methodism arose as an evangelical awakening within the Church of England, and it was similar to what is happening in many circles today, in which a lot of people began to experience a new birth, a personal encounter with God in Christ, in which they were really turned on Christians. They became very happy about Him. They talked about Him a lot. They talked to Him a lot. They got Him to talk to them a lot through the reading and study of His Word. And this movement was led by Anglican clergymen and by some laity as well. There was a great deal of lay leadership. And so it was an evangelical awakening within the Anglican communion.
Is this awakening still going on today?
Well, it's being renewed today. I think it really became very cold, very formalized, very institutionalized, to the point of becoming very discouraging. But there's new life, great new life, in the Methodist Church and in other denominations. I think it's in each denomination. I know Christians in the Episcopal Church who are very, very happy in Christ and are very turned on for Him. So I think that this is what's happening in the church today, Dick, is not denominational. It's not bound or locked up in any one denomination, and I think that's good.
I think so too. Well, there are many, many questions that I want to ask you, but I noticed that all the phones are lit up, and there are many people who want to ask you some questions as well. I hope the listeners will think of some of the questions I want to ask you as well. So let's start with the phone call, shall we?
Right.
Good evening, you're on open line. Good evening, you're on open line.
Hello?
Yes, you're on the air. Hello?
Hello?
Let's tell him to go ahead.
Go ahead.
Hello?
Go ahead, you're on the air.
Yes, is this Reverend Owen?
This is Reverend Owen.
Yes, there are 3 points that I would like to discuss with you, or have you discuss with the radio audience. At the present time, I'm taking the Way of Life course at my church, and I've been so blessed by sharing Christ with others that I would like for you to describe this course to the radio audience. Second, I would like for you to describe this upcoming program for Raleigh called Here's Life America. And third, not as a question and answer type thing, but third, if you would discuss the good news movement that has moved into prominence in the Methodist Church.
Hey, that's terrific. That's quite an assignment there.
Well, I think the radio audience would be very interested in hearing about these things.
Great. I appreciate you giving me the privilege of responding.
All right, thank you.
Right, thank you. First of all, the Way of Life plan is a plan that we are following at St. Mark's Church and that a number of churches in America have adopted. It was originated by an organization called Campus Crusade for Christ with headquarters in San Bernardino, California. Dr. Bill Bright, founder and president. Now, the Way of Life plan is not a big, splashy, spectacular thing at all. It's simply a group of laymen whom the pastor gathers around him for special discipling procedures. We, for instance, meet on Sundays 10 men. I meet these 10 men that are my core group on Sundays from 6 to 7 p.m. And then we meet on Tuesday nights to go out visiting in the neighborhood. We went out this past Tuesday knocking on doors in the neighborhood. And sometimes we do telephone evangelism. And sometimes we visit the homes of our members. Sometimes we visit members, and sometimes we visit people who we just don't know where they go to church. We just take a street and just go down the street. So this is a training procedure for churchmen to learn how to share Christ, to share their faith with another individual. The other individual may also know Christ, or he may not, but we find out as we get into it. And that's not a high-pressure method. I think it is, however, a biblical procedure for the leader of a flock of Christians to disciple them and to train them that they may know how to share their faith. So that's the Way of Life plan. Now, my question I had...
Question number 2. You have quite an assignment
Number
here.
2, right, is Here's Life America. Here's Life America is also from Campus Crusade for Christ, which is an organization predominantly, as indicated by its name, active on the campuses. But this program is designed not for the campus, but for the cities, for the some 200 standard metropolitan areas in the United States. I think it's about 85% of the people of this country live in these 200 and some metropolitan areas. Raleigh-Durham is one of those. We are one of the smaller ones, but we are listed by the U.S. Census Bureau as one of those population centers. Now, Here's Life America was pilot projected in Atlanta in 1975, when Atlanta had a Here's Life Atlanta or an Agape Atlanta program. And I don't want to go into this in any great detail because the people of Raleigh, Durham, and the area will be hearing of this, as will the people in the Triad cities over Winston-Salem, Greensboro, High Point, very shortly anyway. There was a briefing session last night at Forest Hills Baptist Church here, and there was a briefing session at First Presbyterian a few weeks ago, one at Ramada Inn. There'll be one at St. Mark's Methodist coming up the 29th, I believe. So it's interdenominational. It reaches across denominational lines. And the idea is that you try to get 2 groups of people together, Dick. You try to get the people in this city who are most ready, most open to becoming Christians. You get that group together with the people in the city who are most likely to know how to lead them to Christ. Mm-hmm. And so you use the mass media. We'll be, for instance, coming to WPTF radio and to the other radio stations and television stations in the area, not asking for free time, but to buy time, prime time spot announcements. We'll be going to the billboard people and buying billboards. We'll be using bumper tags and buttons and the same avenues of communication that the business world and the political world uses every day. The business world to sell billions of dollars worth of products, and the political world to elect candidates. The church or the churches will be using to encourage people who are not yet a part of the Christian faith to inquire into it, to seriously look into the possibility of becoming Christians.
So the mass media are a strong tool as well for religious groups, as
Absolutely.
Well as business or anything else.
Right, and Here's Life America is an attempt to use the media, and we would, of course, train a large group of churchmen so that they would know how to go out and help somebody who called in. You'll run a telephone number, as they did in Agape, Atlanta, 1975,